Hey guys, Mr. DeFlip here. Today we are picking up where we left off last week. So today's going to be day 2 of lesson 8.4. I've also included the video from last week as well to reinforce what we're doing today. So this lesson you guys are going to be using your book. You're going to be following along with me. So we're at, as you can see, lesson 8.4. And the page number is 475. All right, so last week we were talking about just how to solve these problems. I like this lesson because for our visual learners, it's going to really help us understand why we're doing it the way that we are. So let's get right down to it. So we're going to be multiplying a fraction or a mixed number by a whole number. So we're going to start off today with a word problem. So the first thing you guys are going to want to do is determine, are we multiplying a fraction or are we multiplying a whole number? Okay. So let's read the problem. It says, Christina is planning a dance routine for her Fabulous Friday. At the end of each measure of music, she's going to make 1 1/4 of a turn. So she's going to go all the way around, and then she's going to go another 1/4. How many turns will she make after the 3 measures of music? Okay. So we know that's going to be our question. So we're going to underline that. So you guys can underline that right now in your book. If you don't have your book, pause the video and go get it. All right, because you're filling this whole page in as we do this. How many turns will she make after 3 measures of music? Let me erase. I don't want to get rid of the 3. That's important. All right, so after 3 measures of music, how much is she going to turn? Well, in one turn, it says that she's going to go 1 1/4. So is 1 1/4 a mixed number or is 1 1/4 a fraction? It's a mixed number. So if we're looking at our notes, we're going to have to turn that mixed number into an improper fraction. All right, that's our first thing that we're going to do. So we can use multiplication to solve this equation. So here's the 1 1/4. That's the turn that she does each time. And she's doing it 3 different times. So what we're going to do, it says right here, write 1 1/4 as a fraction, and then we're going to multiply it. So I'm going to do that up here. Ooh. All right. Now, when I'm writing this as a fraction, I always start at the bottom, right? So 4 times 1, mental math, is 4. Then I can add my numerator. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5 as my numerator. And my denominator just stays the same. All right, so my fraction for 1 1/4 that we changed it into is going to be 5/4. Okay, so now we simply are going to just multiply 3 times 5/4. All right, which we know when we're multiplying fractions, we multiply our whole number times the numerator. So 3 times 5 is 15. And our denominator just stays 4. It stays the same. All right. Now, that's the first thing we're going to do. Over here it says, will Christina make more or less than 1 1/4 turns in 3 measures of music? Well, think about this. If she's spinning 1 time, she's going to make, it says in the problem, 1 1/4 of a turn. If she's doing it 3 times, is she going to do it more than that, or is she going to do it less than that? Well, we know she's going to do it more because she spins 1 1/4 in just 1 turn. So we know that the answer is going to be way more than 1 1/4. Okay, because we're doing it 3 times. All right, what operation are we going to use to solve this problem? Well, we already said that. We're going to be using multiplication. So guys, fill that in. All right, now let me move down here a little bit. And unlike our smartboard at school, it's nice that our ink actually stays where it should. All right. So this, we did not see this last week. I like this because it helps us visualize it. So we turned 1 1/4 into 15/4. And look at what it says here. 15/4 equals. And look at what they're doing. They are breaking it down into unit fractions. So we have 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, would equal 4/4, or 1 whole. That's why there's a 1 here. That's what that 1 represents. Now, as Ava loves to say, we are in a whole new world. We're in whole number world now, right? Because 15/4, we know it's a fraction greater than 1. So we're going to continue the pattern, all right? And we're going to keep going. So I have 4/4 right now. Here is 5/4. There would be 6/4. And the reason why I'm just counting up. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4. I'm adding 1/4 to it every time. All right, that would be 7/4. And that would be 8/4. So now I just filled in 8/4. We can see I've done 1 whole and now I've done 2 wholes. So think of it as 8/4, right? 8 divided by 4 is 1, 2 wholes. Okay, let's keep going. 9/4, 10/4. You guys are just copying this down in your books as I do it. 11/4, 12/4. Okay, now I'm at 12/4, so I just did another whole. Think of it as 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I have 1, 2, 3 right now. All right, now I'm at 12/4, so I'm going to keep going. So I have 13/4, 14/4, and my last one would be 15/4. So if I added all of these unit fractions of 1/4 together, it would equal 1/4. Now, check this out. If I add all of these bottom numbers, 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 1 whole, that's 3, plus 1/4 plus 2/4 plus 3/4. That is going to be, that's going to be our problem. That's our problem of what we're doing. 1 1/4 times 3 is 15/4. Okay? So actually, our product is right here, right? Look at what we did. Here's 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 wholes. What that's telling us is that she's actually going to end up spinning 3 full turns and 3/4 left over. All right? So we can know that because all we're doing, look, we're counting 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 wholes, and then there's 1, 2, 3/4. So what's 3 plus 3/4? We're going to combine the wholes and combine the fractions. She's going to end up spinning 3 and 3/4. So Christina will make 3 and 3/4 turns in her dance moves. Now, this isn't what we did last week. This is just simply, guys, a model of how this actually works. So let's come back up to step number 1, because I don't want you guys to be confused, because this is what we were doing last week. All right, so step number 1, we multiplied. We changed 1 1/4 into 5/4. All right, and then we multiplied 3 times 5/4 is 15/4. How we did it last week with this mixed number, we had to change this back into a mixed number to get our answer. So how do we do that? This fraction line, I feel like I've said this so many times recently, that fraction line actually means to divide. So we're going to divide 15 divided by 4. Now, we're hoping that my product is still going to be this when I'm all done, all right? Remember, we got this answer because we ended up breaking it all up into unit fractions. Again, you don't have to worry about that, guys. That is just showing you why we're doing this, okay? So now I can solve. 4 goes into 15 how many times? 3 times. So I put my 3 as my quotient. 3 times 4 is 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. And I don't have anything left to bring down, and 3 is less than my divisor 4. So that means I'm done. So how do I get my mixed number out of this? Well, the 3 words are quotient, remainder, divisor. So if I follow that order, quotient is 3, remainder is 3, and my divisor is 4. So we can see we got the same product as we did over here. All right, so the answer would be 3 3/4. All right, so that's really, really important that we have an understanding of that. Okay, let's answer these questions. It says if you multiply 3 times 1/4, is the product greater or less than 3? And when they say 3, they're saying 3 wholes. So guys, if I multiply just the fraction 1/4, is it going to be greater than 3 wholes, or is it going to be less than? Well, I know if I multiply a fraction, I just simply multiply my whole number times my numerator, right? So 3 times 1 would be 3, and my denominator stays the same. So it's going to be 3/4. So it's going to be less. All right, and the reason why this is an important question is because it's pulling in lessons that we've already done to reinforce this lesson. All right, so we know that if we multiply the fraction, we are just multiplying that whole number times the numerator. So write this down. 3 times 1/4 equals 3/4. It's going to be less. Whoop, I was doing pretty good until that. Period. Okay. All right. Explain how you can tell that 3 times 1 1/4 is greater than 3 without finding the exact product. So think about this. How do we know that this 3 times 1 1/4 is going to be greater than 3? Well, I know my basic fact, 3 times 1 is going to be exactly 3. But now I'm bringing in this fraction. So that fraction's letting me know it's going to be more. My product is going to be more than 3. I knew that before I even started multiplying or showing my work. So we can say, we'll say B-C, which stands for because, okay, because 3 times 1 equals 3. And I would still have to multiply my fraction, 3/4. Writing with a mouse is definitely tricky. Takes some getting used to. All right, so because 3 times 1 is 3, and I would still need to multiply 3/4. Ooh, running out of room. All right, period. So I know that it's going to be more than 3 because 3 times 1, those whole numbers are already 3, and I would still have to multiply 3/4. That's how I know it's going to be more than 3 wholes. Okay, so again, guys, make sure this page is filled in for pages 475. All right, now let's move on to our next page. All right, we're not going to do the whole next page. We're just going to do part of it. And this is bringing back in, this part of the lesson, guys, is going to be bringing back in your lesson from last Thursday. Is there a way to just clear all this? Nope. It's not like our smartboard where I can circle it. I'm sure there's a shorter way. I just don't know what it is. All right. So we are going to actually do the bottom of this. Okay. So where it says try this. 5 times 2 3/5. So it says 5 times 2 3/5 equals 5 times what? Write 2 and 2 2/3. 2 2/3. Write 2 2/3 as a fraction. All right, so how I would do that is I'm going to follow my notes, all right, and I'm going to turn 2 2/3 into a fraction by using multiplication. So I'm going to use my space over here, and I suggest you guys do the same thing. All right, so this is the same thing we did last week. I'm going to multiply 2 times 3, and I can do this in my head, is 6, and then simply just add that numerator. That's a plus sign. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 would be 8. Now my denominator, I can just bring that right on over. It's going to be 3. Okay, so right here where it says 5 times 2 2/3 equals 5 times what? We're going to put our new fraction, 8/3. Okay, so now let's multiply. That's our second step. All right, all this is 3 steps. Change the mixed number into a fraction and then multiply. What's 5 times 8? It's going to be 40 thirds. Okay, now finally divide. We change it back into a mixed number. So what's 40 divided by 3? All right, let's do this. 3 goes into 4. Can it go in there? Yes, it can. How many times? 1. 1 times 3 is 3. All right, 4 minus 3 is 1. And now, wow, I can actually bring this down. I can bring down that 0. All right, 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1. And I don't have anything else to bring down. And my remainder is smaller than my divisor. So now, all I'm going to do is my 3 words. Quotient, which is right here, 13. Remainder, which is 1. Divisor, which is 3. Connect those dots. It's going to be whole number, 13. That's my quotient. Go down to your remainder. Ooh. Numerator is going to be 1. And then divisor is going to be 3. So my product for 5 times 2 2/3 is going to be 13 1/3. Okay? All right, guys. So for the problems that I want you to do today, I want you to do a flip grid. So pictures, you can still do pictures, but in your pictures, I need to see all of the work. Okay? So you're going to do 2 problems for me. All right, those 2 problems are going to be, just give me a second here. Computer's being a little slow. On page 477, you guys are going to do number 8 and number 9. Number 8 and number 9 on page 477. Go to the flip grid, explain your work, or take a picture of your slate on your work. Don't try to squeeze in all your work on the page in your book because it's very, very tight and I want to be able to read it. Okay, so those are your 2 options: flip grid or take a video of your slate or a picture of your slate and circle your answers. All right, guys, good luck. If you are confused by this, I will be in room 130 all this morning. Okay, so join me anytime if you need help. All right, guys, good luck.